won't have any more issues. That's what I'm hoping this morning. If I need to reboot, then I will. Okay, so tell me how we sound right now. All right, really appreciate you. Let me go back into the chop shop and finish with your chat. Ms. D writes, didn't a member of the military ask Colin to kneel instead of sit in the first place? Ms. D, you're absolutely right about that. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Who is this? I think we got John calling in from Princeton, New Jersey, who probably doesn't know what we're talking about this morning. Hey, John, sit tight. Hey, John, good morning to you, brother. Sit tight, man. I'll bring you straight on. I want to make sure that people can hear me on Facebook. Okay, we're good. Keith Mays. Okay, great. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Sorry about that, family. Appreciate you. Please like and share today's show. People coming into the stream will have no issues at this particular point. Yeah, you're right about that, Miss D. It was a member of the military who Colin knew. They were interacting, and I won't say he was consulting with the man, but the man gave him some suggestions that Colin Kaepernick took. Again, people have taken this whole Colin Kaepernick thing and just ran with it. And it really underscores why we have so many problems in America. Because it's not that people can't hear. Oh, they can hear, but they hear what they want to hear. They hear what they want to hear. When Colin Kaepernick was doing his kneel, right, his one-man silent protest, which, by the way, the media went to him, not the other way around, people couldn't hear it for what it really was. Just last week, LeBron James, after their first game, was talking about how Colin Kaepernick was talking about police brutality, but people tried to turn it into something else. Everything's politicized. Everybody's got a personal agenda. Instead of dealing with what Colin Kaepernick had to say, it was more comfortable. It was easier to digest for people to turn it into something else. It's just like the people that had a problem with me criticizing the Black Lives Matter mural. Instead of them hearing what I actually had to say, it was more comfortable for them to try to make me into, you don't care about black artists, or you're trying to stop the movement. It was just easier for them to deal with that than deal with the truth. Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick wasn't trying to disrespect the military. I'll say it for the umpteenth time. He was trying to raise awareness about police shootings in this country. And he was doing this silently until the media came to him. And, you know, does he want to be in the NFL? I don't know. I don't really give a damn. It really doesn't really make a difference to me or not. But I'll tell you one thing. He don't deserve this. This is what happens when black people stand up in this country. And there's a connection to Colin Kaepernick and to the mystery history identity and that person's role in history as well, which I'll explain to you coming up in about 30 minutes. Make sure you stick around for it. But this is a real thing. And I'm reading now that the U.S. Navy is investigating a video showing military dogs attacking a man in a Colin Kaepernick jersey during a demonstration. Apparently, the demonstration took place at a Navy SEAL Museum event in Florida last year. But the videos of the incidents are just resurfacing now. Just came out over the weekend. So this happened last year. And now there's an investigation to like, who's in charge here? And this is a Navy SEAL Museum event. So this is a kind of entertainment. You know, there was a time in this country when it was a form of entertainment to get black boys and put them in the boxing rings and make them damn near beat each other to death. That was entertainment. There was a time in this country when it was entertainment to go to the picnic, right? Let's go to the lynching. Get your food, bring your kids. We're going to watch this black body swing from a tree. What I see here is not too far from that. Like, whose idea with this was this? And so you're telling me that the foreign enemies of the state are less of a threat than Colin Kaepernick, a football player with no real power outside of his influence, right? He's an influencer. He don't got no nuclear weapons. This is what we as taxpayers pay for Navy SEAL dogs to do. The hell? You seen this? And I mean, what? We don't have any foreign targets that the Navy SEALs can focus on? So you got Navy SEAL members and their family members and supporters who think that this is okay. It says something about the country, family, that we already know, quite honestly. I got a video I'll show for you in just a second. 513-873-7134. What is this? Sucker ass seals writes modern day mock lynching in broad daylight by U.S. Armed Forces. Don't ask me why I stay armed. The brother said it right. This is a mock lynching, a modern day mock lynching of a football player who expressed his viewpoint. See, now it's a different time than when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee. Now, you got a lot of white folks out there that's like fake sympathetic and they want to play the role. You know what I'm saying? When I'm doing my walks and walking around, white people have never been so friendly to me. They've never been so friendly. And that's great. I'll take all of that friendship. I'm still looking for equity policy intangibles. That's what really matters. But what is this all about? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why? What? And what do you get out of this? What do you get out of this exactly? You see this? I'll put this on the screen for you. You can check this out for yourself. This is absolutely disgusting. Look at that. U.S. Navy is investigating a video showing military dogs. These are military dogs. And, you know, my personal belief is, let's take it to law enforcement. They're a member of law enforcement. I've seen them with these dogs. They care more about these dogs than they do human life. And it's because some of these weak ass men that are the dog handlers and some of these members in the military and law enforcement, they're weak men. And a weak man would get some kind of sick pleasure out of sicking a dog, a military dog, a police dog, onto an individual. Makes them feel like a big man. Makes them feel tough and strong. Yeah, I'm gonna sick my dog on you. Makes them feel strong. I'm telling you, man, I don't know what y'all did. I don't know what y'all done did, but it's a new day out here, family. It really is. It's a new day out here. And this is in the middle of Georgia. This is just last year. The video surfaces. I hope that, I don't know how that works. They should be court-martialed. I don't even know if that's possible. But these are the people that are protecting our borders. Some of them, again, this is just, I don't want to make a sweeping generality of everybody in the military because this is like a small sample of some individuals that obviously have some real racial resentment. Because all you have to do is just listen to Colin Kaepernick and he told you what it was all about. It was never about the military. But you had the president and you had the Republicans and all these conservative voices out there. They wanted to try to take what he was doing because they don't want to deal head on with law enforcement being a problem. It's much easier to make the black man the problem. That's much easier. It's much easier to deal with. It's much more palatable. Oh, we understand that. The black guy's the problem? Oh, that's easy to digest. Oh, man, that's easy. I mean, we've been digesting that nonsense, that narrative for a long time. But to deal with the real issues is far more difficult. Jane writes, good morning. Ray writes, grand risings all. Clumagic writes, the attack of Kaepernick in effigy was nothing more than some of that overt racism. True that. Facts. That's period. White folks have put a dog's life over a black person's life since the beginning. Hard to argue against it, family. It really is. It's hard to argue against it. Tell him he's wrong. You know, let me jump on Facebook before we get into it. I know some folks have some issues with the sound. I think we've taken care of that. I appreciate you. DJ Pillow is hilarious. He writes, I'm reading his lips. He's saying for the best insurance race in town, call A1 General now. You are hilarious. You are hilarious, man. Oh, man. Thank you so much for being here, sticking through that. I appreciate it. I wasn't saying that, by the way. Anthony writes, just like any other profession in society, the armed forces have some dumbass knuckleheads too, Nate. True that. Cleopatra Jones is in the house. She writes, rise and shine, Nathan Ivey, Choppers, and Royal Family. Good morning to you. Lenny B writes, racist is what a racist does. Apparently so. Apparently so. I thought it was quite interesting. And especially considering that it was so obvious what the real issue is. But let me set the story up for you, family. Now, you know what? Let me start here. Because, you know, on Friday, we spent some time talking about the marriage boot camp episode in which Harlem rapper Vado grabbed his girlfriend Tahiri. We had an interesting conversation. It's up on Facebook and on Spreaker. You can go back and check it out. Including, I got a few phone calls from women who were like, well, if a man put his hands on a woman, she should be prepared to deal with whatever. And there are people who are saying things like, well, we don't know what really happened. Well, since then, I haven't watched the entire episode, not sure if it's out, but I have seen more of the clips. We have more of the backstory about it. And it seems like just what I thought. This grown man got in his feelings because she was saying things about him and decided to react physically, which is yet another example of some weak ass man-ish. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the milk. Maybe it's the combination of pesticides and soy in the food. Maybe it's the lack of the non-nuclear family. But I want to reiterate from the top. A man is not the same as a woman. All these people out here like, well, a woman should keep her hands to herself. Well, I think you've forgotten that in that case, we're not talking about two strangers. We're talking about people. We're talking about couples. We're talking about in a relationship, in a situationship. Sleeping together, hopefully building a family or whatever the hell they're doing, eating chicken wings together, whatever they like to do. That's different than you dealing with a stranger. I thought it was quite interesting when I listened back to the show that there was women who was like, well, basically she got what she deserved. I'm like, what? And just like I thought, Vado reacted out of his emotion. Not that he was dealing with a threat, but he was emotional. She hurt his feelings. She kept talking ish about him. So you gonna put your hands around her neck and choke her up? Weak ass man syndrome. Ladies, don't deal with it. Don't deal. I want to reiterate that. I ain't gonna spend a lot of time on it. I just wanted to reiterate it. That's it. Also, just a reminder, coming up in about 35 minutes, scheduled to speak with Jason Dunn to talk about diversity and inclusion in local tourism. He's suggesting that they start a new task force to address these issues. I'll let him give you all the details later today. How many people know who James Clyburn is? James Clyburn is the man who may be singularly the one man responsible for Joe Biden getting the nomination, the Democrat nomination. If you remember, Joe Biden, going back to the primary, he was lagging behind people like Bernie Sanders. Then they went down to South Carolina after James Clyburn embraced him with his endorsement. And ever since then, Joe Biden's been doing well. Well, just a few days ago, going back to Friday, July 31st to be exact, the South Carolina representative, James Clyburn, said that, there's a big conversation now about who Joe Biden should choose as a VP. Should it be a black female? Does it really matter? James Clyburn says it is foolhardy. Foolhardy. His words, not mine. A bit foolhardy to be focusing on the VP race or choice rather than other things. Quote, I long for an African-American woman to sit on the United States Supreme Court. It's a shame that we have had 3 women to sit on the U.S. Supreme Court and no one has ever given the kind of consideration that is due to an African-American woman. That's kind of like a shot at Barack Obama, isn't it? Yeah, because he put in place Sotomayor, not a black female, if you're just looking at it racially. And I want you to think about this and answer this question, perhaps leave a comment. Would you rather have the first black female vice president or the first black female, and let me add this as well, progressive leaning Supreme Court justice? Because I don't want a black female version of Clarence Thomas. We don't need a Candace Owens, a black female Candace Owens on the Supreme Court. If we're going to choose, if the president or whoever is going to choose like a Candace Owens type, we can stick with a non-black female. How about that? But I'll be honest with you, family. In my opinion, I think it would be far more beneficial and far more impactful, potentially, if we had the first black female Supreme Court justice over the first black female vice president. Now, I say potentially because the road to the White House is paved in some cases by the VP. You got a lot of VPs that end up becoming presidents, right? Right now, the man who has a Democrat nomination, Joe Biden, was the VP of Barack Obama. And now he wants to be president because people look at you and say, well, damn, if you can be vice president, then you can be president, right? It makes sense. So if the road to the White House is paved by becoming the vice president, and if Biden chooses the first black female vice president, that leads to the first black female progressive leaning, again, always, president. Okay, cool. But just think about the Supreme Court. Depending on the age and the life expectancy and lifespan, you could have an impact on politics, the social environment, the country for the next 20, 25, 30 years. So what would be more impactful to the black community? What would be more valuable to you? Just to think about it. For me, I'm leaning towards Supreme Court justice with a caveat. And that caveat is, if the first black progressive leaning VP turns into the first black female progressive president, okay. But think about this. You're only president for what, 4 years, 8 years max. Supreme Court is a lifetime nomination or appointment. You're there until you die. Okay. Shout out to RGB, right? We want her to stay alive for a long, long time, especially while Trump is in office. We definitely want to see that. But that's something to think about, family. Something to think about. 513-873-7134. Also coming up at 9 a.m. this morning, 9:05 a.m. approximately. I know it says 9 a.m. there. You'll find out who the mystery history person is and the winner this morning. All right. So stick around for that. All right. Let me take my first break. We'll come right back and share your thoughts. Again, the phone lines are open, 513-873-7134. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. I'm live, I'm local, and I'm vocal. You're listening to The Last Honest Place in America, brought to you by Sin Digital Media.
Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson. The private equity industry has come under scrutiny for its lack of diversity, but the Carlyle Group has introduced new measures aimed at improving diversity in its workforce and at the companies it owns globally. The private equity firm is implementing a new hiring policy that requires that at least one candidate interviewed for every new role be Black, Latino, Pacific Islander, or Native American. The firm also has committed to ensuring that 30% of all directors on boards of Carlyle-backed companies are ethnically diverse. And a big gift for HBCUs. The ex-wife of Jeff Bezos, Mackenzie Scott, recently donated $1 billion of her fortune to various charities and organizations. $160 million went to several historically Black colleges and universities. And that's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson.
Hey, America. We need to have a little talk. I don't know if you've noticed, but we got a lot of food in this country. A lot of peaches, a lot of corn, a lot of apples, a lot of everything. We've got so much food that we can't even eat it all. So if we got all this extra food, how are 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger? I just don't get it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to the hungry kids who need it. They can get you food even if you live in Idaho or Alaska or somewhere crazy like that. This isn't complicated. We got extra food and we've got hungry kids. Feeding America's done the math. Now it's your turn. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. I know you got internet on your phone, so what are you waiting for? We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is Zoe Wesson. What side of history do you want to be on? The right side, or one where Black people continue to be underrepresented in Hamilton County? Now's your chance to end 230 years of exclusion. In Charlie Winburn, we have a man that's received the Cincinnati NAACP President's Award, who fought on the Ohio Civil Rights Commission for 6 years, who received the Baptist Ministers Conference Community Service Award. Charlie Winburn has received the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award and was honored by WDBZ The Buzz as Pastor of the Month. We know Charlie Winburn, and he knows us. He's the right man to put us on the right side of history. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, November the 3rd, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave. But unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent. You're listening to The Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
All right, good morning, family. Welcome back. Quick break, 513-873-7134. And please support our sponsors. Supporting our sponsors support the Nathan Ivey Show and keeps us independent. The most independent media in the city of Cincinnati and the last honest place in America. Welcome back. Now, at the top of the hour, I'll give you the details about Mystery History, reveal the winner, and also who the Mystery History person is. Why is it relevant back to what we're talking about today? I think you'll all understand. And also at 9:15 a.m., scheduled to speak with Jason Dunn. He's going to talk about local diversity and local tourism and what he thinks should be done about it. It's quite interesting. Also, let me give you a heads up. I'm doing a joint show with Donnie B this Wednesday at 12 noon. And we're scheduled to speak with the Cincinnati Public Schools Superintendent Laura Mitchell at 12:30 p.m. this Wednesday. So we're going to rock for at least an hour. It's a little bit different. Like typically my show's in the morning, her show's on Friday in the afternoon. But, you know, with everything that's happening with the big meeting today it should be revealed as to what CPS, that Cincinnati Public Schools moving forward, is going to do in terms of reopening. And if you're a parent, I mean, what are your plans? Are you planning to do the virtual learning? Are you planning on allowing your student, your child or children to actually go to the school building? What if you have a child that is in the kindergarten? What are the options available to you? What should be done? And I'm reading all kind of reports from around the country that don't really bode well, family. It ain't saying a lot of good things. So there's a lot of speculation as to what CPS is going to do. Are they going to make a decision? Are they going to kick the can down the road a bit? We'll find out later on today. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But then we can talk about it with the CPS Superintendent, Laura Mitchell, on Wednesday. Again, so join that live stream when you see it. On Wednesday at 12 noon, we'll kick it off. And again, at 12:30 p.m. this Wednesday, myself and Donnie B are scheduled to speak with Laura Mitchell, superintendent. Appreciate your time, Laura Mitchell. Appreciate it. Looking forward to it. I know you got a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions. I've got two students. I've got a 10th grader and a kindergartner. Yeah, it's real in the Ivey household. So we have some big decisions to make, as do many of you. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Hey, Terry, thank you so much. Thank you for the likes and shares this morning. I appreciate it. And thank you for rolling with me. I had some difficulties with the sound, but it happens. We want to keep it to a minimum, though. Mrs. Love Being Black is in the chop shop. She writes, good morning, fellow beautiful smart choppers. Ayatollah Black writes, I don't use householder Avi because he represents Glenford, not Cincinnati. Tamaya 6'9" was third in line to become Cincinnati's mayor. Hashtag shame. Hashtag Tamaya 6'9". Well, I'm not really sure that is accurate. So 6'9" is now infamous because he was willing to what they call snitch. But again, if you're looking at a lot of time, all this big talk and tough talk about what you gonna say and what you gonna do goes right out the window when you're looking at doing years and years of time. It was Pusha T who put out a song so appropriately named, Sorry, Negro, I'm trying to go home. Snitch. Yeah, sorry, B, but I ain't 5 years or 3 years or 10 years or 5 years. What you gonna do? So all that snitch stuff goes out the window when you're looking at doing real hard time. I get it. But as I understand it, that's not really accurate to Tamaya and Maya for what we understand right now. But, have your phone. It's the internet. Mrs. Love Being Black writes, good morning, fellow beautiful smart choppers. Good morning to you, as always.
Get to the chopper!
Cassandra writes, hey, choppers. Good morning to you.
Get to the chopper!
Mrs. Love Being Black writes, everyone should keep their hands to themselves. You're right about that. And you got a lot of dudes out there that are not in control of their emotions, like this Vado, Harlem rapper Vado. He's not really a mentally strong man. Because a mentally strong person wouldn't stay in an environment that's not good for them. That's them off top. You with a woman, she disrespecting you and talking all crazy. It's time to go. Keep the paychecks. I'm out of here. Why would I subject myself to that for a paycheck? It ain't that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you a high value individual, if you highly value yourself, you ain't stand for that. Men, you don't have to deal with that kind of abuse. Verbal abuse, physical abuse. You ain't got to deal with that. If you ain't good enough for her, then leave. And as I've always said, I'll say it again. If you good to somebody, if you treat them right and they dog you out, all you got to do is leave. That's all you got to do. This world is so cutthroat. It's so doggy dog. There's so many people that'll stab you in your back for a couple of crumbs. There's so few people out there that really have your back. There's so few people out there that really give a damn about you. There's so few people out there that when you're in a time of need, they'll help you without judgment. That if you are that kind of person, you leaving their life is punishment enough. Life will take care of everything else, homie. You ain't got to bust the windows out the car. You ain't got to choke her. You ain't got to yell. You ain't got to do none of that. Just leave. Just roll. That's what a high value man would do. A high value man's not going to sit around and take a whole bunch of abuse. And then it's going to be a point at which enough is enough. And then we out, homie. This ain't working. I don't care how good the Il Nana is. There's no Il Nana in the world good enough for me. Anyway, personally, I ain't never had none that was that good. It's going to make me take some like that. Fellas, that's all you got to do. But some of these low value emotional men get all in their feelings. I'm going to put my hands on you. A woman better not do that to me. What kind of, you ain't going to do that to a man. Some of these same dudes run around here talking about, let a woman do that. They're not going to do that with a man, especially not a man who they think can be a physical match to them. They ain't going to do it. There's very few that's going to do that. There's some, but I don't believe it. So when I watched more of the episodes, good morning. That was quick. That's my boy. So when I watched the episode and I saw more of the backstory, she keep talking about me. This ain't like a stranger. This is your woman. If there's ever a woman in the world that you're going to give latitude to, you give it to her. You give it to her. Hey, what's up, Renee? Renee Garcia, that is. Good morning to you. Good morning. I got your message. Good morning. If there's ever a woman in the world you're going to give latitude to, you give it to her. I don't have no respect for it, man. A woman hit me, I'm going to treat her just like a man. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's a lie. Any man that says that is a weak man, period. Straight up. Tell him I said so. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going to do it. Crystal writes Supreme Court is longer. Kamika writes Supreme Court. Lenny B writes Supreme Court. That's an answer to my question about what would you rather have? Would you rather have a black female VP, or would you rather have a black female progressive leaning Supreme Court justice? We already got one Clarence Thomas. We don't need another one. We don't need another one, family. We already got one. And for me, as I sit here right now, I'm leaning toward the first black female progressive Supreme Court justice. I got to add these caveats because not all skin folk is kinfolk, as they say. You know, sometimes they put a black face in power to soften the blow about the policies, right? We've seen it over and over again. I ain't got to say no names. It is what it is. But I agree with James Clyburn. I think people are getting too caught up with this VP choice. You're investing in the wrong things. It would be nice. It would be history. But for me, it's not a deal breaker with Joe Biden per se. That's for me personally. I got other issues with Joe Biden. A black female progressive Supreme Court justice, especially if you get somebody that's like their late 30s, early 40s, that person could be on the court until they're into their 70s or 80s. That's 30, 40 years of making decisions. That's potentially far more impactful than a black female VP. Okay, that's just me though. 513-873-7134. You have to tell me what you think. You got to tell me what you think, family. That's what really, really matters to me. 513-873-7134. That's what really matters. Okay, so before we go any deeper in the show, of course, you know, I'm doing something called Mystery History on my Facebook page, the official Facebook page for the Nathan Ivey Show, the Nathan Ivey Show. And we do have a winner. I want to reveal who the Mystery History person is. Some of you may already know. You may have already figured it out. And some of you might be like, well, I don't know who that was, Nate. I don't have no idea. Who was it? Okay, so I want to reveal to you who the person was. And I want to play this quote. Now, this clip was up on Facebook for the last week. Let me play this for you. Again, we've already got a winner for the first one. I'm going to put up another one today, and we'll start the game all over again. But listen to this quote. Listen to this clip and tell me who you think this is.
What was the response, by the way, to what you said? After you made your point, how did...
One woman who was sitting to my right, she leaned over and whispered to me. She said, "Thank you for saying what you said."
Now, who was that? I'm talking about the second voice. Who was that? Who do you think that is? You can put it out there. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this particular point. Again, we've already got a winner. And again, to be a winner, all you have to do is to go to my Facebook page, The Nathan Ivey Show, put the correct answer, and then share that particular post. Share it on your page or wherever, but share that post, which is easy to document. And that will register you. I'm looking for the first 30 to 40 people. On this particular week, we did the first 40 people. I think I'm going to decrease it to the first 30 people. Okay. But there's going to be a winner every week, no matter what. And I'm going to cash app you $25 and, hopefully take care of your lunch for a day or so. Take care of your shoe. Hopefully you spend it with a black owned restaurant or spend it however you like to. That's out of my hands. Okay. Do you to the fullest and however you want to do it. But who is the mystery history person? Who is that? Let me play it one more time.
What was the response, by the way, to what you said? After you made your point, how did...
One woman who was sitting to my right, she leaned over and whispered to me. She said, "Thank you for saying what you said."
All right, so let me reveal that the identity of the first mystery history person is Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt. people may not know this, but Eartha Kitt was one of the first people to say loud and proud and stand up for Black lives. I got to take you back, family, to January 1968 during the Lyndon B. Johnson administration. And we now know, as if we didn't know back then, that LBJ had problems with Black folks. We know that. And Eartha Kitt, who was an entertainer, she dealt with some substantial professional pushback after she made anti-war statements during a White House luncheon. Now, Eartha Kitt was asked by the then First Lady, known as Lady Bird Johnson, about the Vietnam War at a luncheon. Lady Bird Johnson brought a whole lot of the ladies whose husbands worked in the Lyndon B. Johnson administration to a luncheon, and they were going to have a polite conversation about the explosion of violence, primarily in so-called the ghetto in Black neighborhoods, and also drug usage, and if it was connected to the Vietnam War. Now, looking back, we know that people like Eartha Kitt and others, people like Muhammad Ali, were absolutely right in their protestations and their frustrations and being against the Vietnam War. What happened in the Vietnam War? A whole lot of people got chopped up and killed for nothing, for absolutely nothing. I challenge any historians out there to tell me what we gained out of that. I'm sure somebody can come up with something. But there was a lot of Black bodies that went from the neighborhoods they lived in, was put on the front lines in a war that had really nothing to do with them whatsoever. Had nothing to do with them whatsoever. Okay? And when, hold on one second, I'm getting a call. Hold on, caller. I'm doing mystery history. And so when she was asked to come to the White House, she actually stood up and said, quote, "The children of America are not rebelling for no reason. They're not hippies for no reason at all. We don't have what we have on Sunset Boulevard for no reason. They are rebelling against something. There are so many things burning the people of this country, particular mothers. They feel they are going to raise sons, and I know what it's like. And you have children of your own, Mrs. Johnson. We raise children and send them to war." I mean, how benign is that? What happened afterward is that she was blacklisted. She couldn't even work in the United States for years and years and years. At the direction of LBJ, the CIA opened a file on Eartha Kitt. Yeah, it was exposed by Seymour Hersh back in 1975. So what was that, like 7-8 years after it happened? 7-8 years after it happened. She was branded a quote-unquote sadistic nymphomaniac by the CIA. This was government-led blacklisting against this sister who was an entertainer. Like I said, she had released a song. She was known for singing. But back in 1967, she really went big when she played Catwoman during the Batman television series. Looking back at how lame as hell that Batman series is now compared to by today's standards, but that was a #1 hit show back in the day. Everybody was watching it. And her portrayal of Catwoman, right, put her on the front screens of a lot of Americans via their televisions. And when she challenged the war machine and challenged the necessity of Black bodies being grinded up by the machine, she was blacklisted. Again, I mean, still and reminiscent to what we're seeing with Colin Kaepernick today. Very reminiscent. What do you think? 513-873-7134. Our winner for this morning is Miss Tiffany. Thanks for playing, Miss Tiffany. We appreciate it. I'm going to Cash App you or PayPal you $25. I want to take care of your lunch or whatever. Do whatever you want with it. But thank you for playing. And again, I'll put another one up today. Mystery History is real simple. Go to the Nathan Ivey Show page, listen to the clip, tell me who it is, and share it. That'll register you. I'm taking the first 30 people. And then on Friday at 9 a.m., I'll reveal again the winner and who the mystery history person is. So shout out to Eartha Kitt. Yeah, weak ass LBJ. He couldn't take a woman standing up telling him the truth. I'm telling you, that's that white Southern arrogance. And then he weaponized the U.S. intelligence apparatus against his sister. She couldn't work for like 10 years. 10, 15 years, couldn't really work in the United States. She was making money abroad. But for 10 or 15 years, she couldn't work in the United States at all. Because she stood up and said that the reason why there's so much violence and drug use in the black community is because they don't want to go to war. What? Apparently, it's been written by history that Lady Bird Johnson was in tears. Oh, man, a white woman cries. So maybe Lady Bird Johnson was the first Karen. Well, not the first. One of the first Karens. We had a Karen in the White House. How dare you stand up and contradict my polite luncheon? I'm going to show you who's really in charge. Shout out to Eartha Kick, man. This morning. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts. Shout out to Miss Tiffany for playing. I appreciate you. You can win too. It's just that simple. It's real simple. All you have to do is play. That's it. What we got here? Yeah, that's Herman Cain. Still don't have no sympathy for Herman Cain. I'm sorry. Somebody sent me a message after the show like, Nate, I kind of feel some kind of way about it. You feel some kind of way about what? I reserve my sympathy for people that deserve it. If you want to put your life on the line and bad things happen, I said the same thing about Steve Irwin. Remember Steve Irwin? That was a dude that was like wrestling alligators and stuff. You're going to go to the habitat of the alligator, go to their house, get on the alligator's back and pull his mouth backwards and hold his mouth open. You want to snorkel in the ocean and F with the fish and the wildlife in the ocean. The animal kingdom put a hit out on it. Enough was enough. He had to go. We don't have no sympathy. It's funny. This morning I was on, I think I was on World Star. They got a video up of this white woman. And she's swimming with what they said is like the biggest shark you've ever seen. It's like a 20-foot jaws shark. It was huge. And she's swimming with it's a great white shark, y'all. I'm not making it up. She's swimming with the shark and she's petting the shark and she's holding the shark's fin in the middle of the ocean. So if the shark turns around and bites her in half, I'm supposed to have sympathy for her? Hell no. You get what you get. It is what it is. It's more food, air, and water for the humans that's got some damn sense. I mean, it's amazing. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. She's just swimming with the shark and holding the shark's fin. Let me see if I can pull this up. You think I'm joking. Huge, like straight out of the movie Jaws. And she's just swimming with the shark and having a good time and holding. And apparently she's got like a YouTube channel and this is like what she does. Okay. I mean, if that's what you want to do. Let me see if I can put this on the screen right. You think I'm joking. It's the dumbest I ever seen in my. This is some white people stuff right here. No offense, white folks, but it is what it is. You see this? Hold on. I got the wrong stuff up. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, you see that? I want you to. That seems smart to you? That seems like a smart thing to do. Look at this woman. You think I'm making it up? She's holding his fin like she's like walking through the park with her boyfriend. Look at her. You see this dumbass? Now, if and when the shark, because at some point the marine life is going to get sick of this white woman, right? And when they do, and they bite her in 3 pieces, I ain't got no tears for you, sweetie. Look at her. The dumbest ish I've ever seen in my entire life. This is what you're doing on your free time? You just can't do a commentary show and get views on YouTube? You can't just do a commentary show? I mean, this ain't even Jacques Cousteau. At least Jacques Cousteau was out there trying to investigate the mysteries of the deep and, give us some education. You're just doing this because, it's a cool photo op. It's a cool video. When the marine life put a hit out on her and they get rid of her, I don't want to hear no tears. It is what it is. It is what it is. Kelly writes, good morning, Nathan. Brian writes, good morning, Nathan, everyone out there. Happy Monday. I'm with you. Puerto Ricans are part of the African diaspora, even though some don't want to admit it. Daryl, you're absolutely right about that, brother. You're absolutely right. But it's not the same as an African American. It's not the same. Lenny writes, we need to flip the Supreme Court. I agree with you. Nationally, black folks need to focus on the Supreme Court long term, like conservative elements do. They've been working on this ish for 20 years, man. Back when I was college, I used to read these Republican like publications from think tanks and these Republican periodicals, and they was talking about their plans 20, 25 years ago about the Supreme Court. That's the reason why the conservative evangelical movement was so happy when Trump was elected, because they was focusing on the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, we got some black folks talking about your vote don't matter. I don't get it. Sherry writes Supreme Court. Althea writes Supreme Court. Yeah, a lot of smart people. Kiki writes peace, love, and light, family. The Greater Cincinnati Coral Ewan writes, I'm leaning towards Supreme Court. We as a community must stop playing tetherball and move on to chess, like the real movers and shakers. I'm right. You're right about that. DJ Pillow writes, choosing one, black, female, progressive in the Supreme Court. So I agree with James Clanburn. Sounds like a lot of people do as well. This whole thing about should he choose a VP? I mean, who started this conversation? The Republicans? How do we get on this? Is it important? I mean, potentially, but what's more substantial? Having a VP, and I'm talking about a VP, that's a ceremonial job. You know, you do some ribbon cutting. You know, the power that you have depends on what the president allows you to do. So it's one thing to pick a VP, but it's another to pick a VP and then empower them the way Bush did with Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney had power. He had say-so. You know what I'm saying? So just because you pick a VP, that don't mean a damn thing. If you don't give them any power, if you don't take the cuffs off, a Supreme Court justice, that means something right there. Now you talking. Now you talking. 513-873-7134. Speaking of talking, I'm scheduled to speak with Jason Dunn coming up in just a couple of minutes. Matter of fact, I believe he's called in. Let's go straight to the phones. Hey, good morning, Jason. Welcome to the show.
What's happening, Nate? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I can barely hear you. Are you on speaker?
Hold on for a second. Hold on.
Yeah, if you're on the line, please just say again, brother.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You still sound very, very low. Can you guys hear Jason? Hey, say something again, Jason.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you now. Let me see if I can boost you up on my end, brother. I want everybody to hear what you have to say this morning. How about that? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, I got you, man. You all in my ear, so I got you.
All right, cool. All right, man. Hey, good morning to you, man. Thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Hey, John, if you call me, I know John ain't listening. He don't never listen, but call me after this conversation with Jason. I'll put you straight on. All right. Yeah, Jason, thanks for coming on, man. And you've been making news late. Well, first, let's catch up, man. We ain't really talked on the air since this whole COVID thing. How was the family? How you doing?
I lost you, Nate. Say what you say.
I said, let's catch up, man, with this whole COVID-19 going on. How's the family and how are you doing?
You know, my family's well. Thanks for asking. You know, my wife is an anesthetist. So, you know, she is working front line with some of the cases and at the hospital. So she's witnessing firsthand what's happening and kind of keeping the loop what's going on across the country. You know, for me locally, you know, the tourism industry has been hit hard across the country, across the world, frankly, because, you know, some of the mass gathering restrictions and just the fear of being around other folks and people not complying with you know, the new rules, so the virus is not under control. So that has essentially shut down the industry across the world, man. So that is a lot of the unemployment numbers you see are reflective of service workers and people within the industry. Right. So from that perspective, you know, if I didn't have a strong wife and we didn't take care of our finances, right, it could have been a different conversation for me right now. But you know, with God's grace, we're still here and standing steadfast, bro.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, we talked about it. Obviously, it's been in the news. But what's the local impact of not having the music fest and all of the black businesses and local businesses are affected? What's that impact moving forward?
Well, you know, the cash perspective, you know, the tourism is a major influencer as it relates to cash here and jobs. So For example, most of the hotels are operating at 20% staff, if that. Most of the persons who are in our industry are furloughed. There are some who are coming back, but overwhelmingly, most of the folks are not even working because they're hourly workers who look like you and I, essentially. Because when conventions aren't coming, there's no work, so there's nothing to serve. There's no people to check in, no phones to answer. So that has affected us in a significant way. The music festival itself, as the data shows, is $107 million for 2.5 days. And that is the largest revenue producing weekend in the past 50 plus years. So, if you take out $107 million of someone's account, man, that they depend on, that is going to crush the region or any budget that people may have. So that is significant. And I think second, the Black Taste that J. Raj and I created, which was essentially for small Black businesses to get cash during that weekend, has gone. There's some other things that is taking place of that soon. You'll hear about that soon, but that is significant factor in people's revenue for the rest of the year. So all that's gone, and then frankly, as far as it relates to Black businesses or Black conventions coming, a lot of our conventions have been mission based, meaning they were created to solve a problem or created to elevate a conversation. So with them not meeting, some of the discussions or national conversations that should be happening are not happening because there's not a gathering point. So they have to kind of pivot to virtual. And let's just be honest, some of our elders are not that savvy when it relates to technology. So we have a little gap there that we have to kind of fill in to bring people together. So it's caused folks to shift a little. It's caused a dent in some folks' wallets, and it's caused a slowing of conversations that would be happening now that would have momentum, particularly towards the election.
Speaking with Jason Dunn, and he is a senior member of the Cincinnati's Convention and Bureau organization here locally. He's a senior Cincinnati USA Convention and Visitors Bureau official. So let's get into the heart of this, man, because I did not see the original CVB social media post, but I do know that they posted something that prompted you into action. Can you describe the original post and what happened afterward?
Yeah. So I am not speaking on behalf of the Bureau. I'm speaking on behalf of Jason Dunn. So I am the chairman of the National Coalition of Black Media Professionals.
Hey, Jason, before you start, man, again, are we on speaker? Hey, Jason, can you hear me?
1983. The premise was that Black conventions, whether it be the Divine Nine, one of the Great Seven from the religious organizations, AME, Baptist, Pentecostal, etc., or the professional Black organizations, whether it's Black MBAs, Black engineers, etc. All those people belong to my organization. Right?
Hey, Jason, I hate to cut you off, man, but can you hear me?
Approximately 37 years ago, a coalition was formed where those meeting planners, the folks who directed where conventions went, said, look, we're tired of going to cities where there are no Black people at. There are no Black folks, period, within the hospitality industry, period, right? So they said, look, let's get together, and then we're going to go to cities where they are Black folks in leadership positions and or where they support Black meetings with resources, manpower, et cetera, right? So they begin to go to different cities saying, look, if you want our business, then you need to have African Americans who are on the other side talking to us and with us and understand what our business is. So at that time, there was only 15 African Americans across the country within the CVB world, not the Cincinnati, but across the country, right? Only 15 folks in that entire industry. So when they began having discussions and mandating and dictating that these folks come, then the industry changed. So that discussion, fast forward to now, the discussion was, look, all of these corporations and cities and different organizations are posting that they support Black lives and that they're saying that, hey, we support Black people, Black lives, Black dollars, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But people were saying, well, hold on for a second. Your history doesn't say or doesn't support what your current stance is. So let's start unpacking that. So my organization and along with others nationally were saying, hey, let's start asking some questions, because we know we've been around 37 years, and we know that some of these corporations are not necessarily aligning with what their stance are. So there's a group called the Black Travel Alliance, which is a group of content providers like marketing persons and advertisers, et cetera. And they begin to start asking questions. In addition to us, Coalition of Black Media Professionals, we begin to start asking our association questions, our industry associations questions, like, hey, what does your board look like? Who is your CEO? Have you ever had a black CEO before? What is your marketing spin as it relates to African Americans and brown people, right? We're also going to ask you questions about, well, what is your membership like? Or do you have content that reflects the minority-majority conversation? And then what we're finding is that those persons, although they said it, they weren't actually living up to that creed. So I'm in the meeting. I was on a call. We were having an international discussion about aligning with another organization and kind of helping them move along their needle as it relates to diversity. And one of the planners who have come to Cincinnati was asking the question, like, hey, man, I saw a post on your feed, on not your feed as a person, but on the convention bureau feed. And, you know, it was saying they support Black lives, et cetera. And I said, okay, I didn't know anything about it because I didn't post it, so I'm not in charge of that area. So the thing was, well, we support Black lives and Black meetings and all these other acronyms, a part of the local ecosystem, say the same thing. So the CVB has its own multicultural department, which is what I run, right? So we have some great strides. I'm the first African American VP. My team, Chaka and Jackie and Naira, et cetera, Portia, are all African American, and we've done great work throughout the last several years, and with the Vibe platform, et cetera. But outside of that particular nucleus, I guess you could say, we have some opportunities for growth. Some of the other hotels and some of the convention center, the airport, et cetera. So one of the planners who have come here before said, hey, man, I've come to your city. We came because we respect you. The things that you've done, you are authentic about it. We know you have some disparities in your city, but we like you because you're honest and we move forward, right? So we want to support you. Make sure you are uplifted and the organization that supports you is uplifted. So that was the discussion. So then after we went past the CVB's marketing or multicultural perspectives, outside of that nucleus, there is some major glaring disparities that the planner was like, listen, y'all kind of overstating your commitment because there's some things here that we know we need to spend some work on, and you may want to tag that in the post. So I sent an email internally, it's supposed to be internally, to some of our leadership saying, look, we need to take that down because we're overstating. We have won this far to expect us to be truthful and acknowledging our disparities, but also moving forward because we are saying we want to work together collaboratively, which we've done for the past 16 years. So we don't have to overstate what we're doing. So then the discussion was, listen, here's why we should do this. Here's our vulnerabilities. The vulnerabilities are, one, we don't have any African Americans on Fifth Street within some of the major convention hotels. We have limited numbers of diversity in some of the other organizations that represent or support tourism. Three, we don't have any. Are there any African American or brown people or LGBT businesses that are supported by the hotel community as it relates to contracts? And then lastly, there's some things that has happened within the industry that we need to, acknowledge and atone for, and then build it up collectively with the community and move forward. So there's some things that in the airport doesn't have any people of color, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. So there's some things that were listed as our vulnerabilities that could be easily called to the carpet on should we move forward in a bold manner as we have with this post. So my piece was, look, this is an opportunity to run from it. As we've done with many conventions in the past, with NSCP in 2008, we took a lot of Iris and others, and Christopher Smitherman and Mark Mallory and all kind of folks, Edith Thor, et cetera. We took a Chief Striker. We took our issues to conventions saying, come help us, opposed to overstating what we want, right? So my piece is, here's our issues. Here's where we're vulnerable. Here's where we can move forward on, right? And then if we do this right, we could be a national model because this conversation is happening in every CVB, every hotel across the world, not just Cincinnati, but across the world. So we're already in a position where people look at us as a model for multiculturalism because of the festival, because of the things we've done, again, like I said, the last 16 years. So we have a already legitimate and credible model. Why not build on that and move forward, right? So that was the discussion. I proposed that a task force would address issues and come out with some recommendations that we then can implement to show that we are aware of our disparities. We have issues. We're going to fix them. And here are the resources that we're going to move forward with collectively as a region to be a national market. And that was the discussion. Now, unfortunately, the email for whoever reason, and then it was in the Business Courier, and then it was in Channel 9, et cetera. Now, some of the folks, as you can imagine, are not happy. And I've been positioned as an industry bully. But that wasn't the intent. The intent was, how do we collectively move forward, knowing it's a national issue or international issue, and we can fix it by being a model, by saying we're not afraid, not ashamed, but unapologetic about moving forward. And that's kind of where we are now. So I don't know where the discussion is going to go from now. We had a meeting last Tuesday with the board. This discussion was received well, I believe. So it's just a matter now of what the next steps are.
Speaking with Jason John. Jason, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yeah, we having some audio problems, brother. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I was trying to get your attention a little while ago. Just in and out. So we're not on speaker.
Word? Okay.
Yeah.
I was flowing, man.
Yeah, I know. We know. People were saying it. It just sounds like the audio was just badly degraded. I just want to make sure everybody can hear what you have to say. I think it's very important. So let me ask again, are we on speaker? Yo, Jason, you still there?
What'd you say? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said, just want to make sure we're not on speaker because it's always going to be bad audio if we're on speaker. That's number one.
I think now what happened was my earplugs are in my pocket and they kept going from earplugs to phone. That's what happened.
Oh, okay. That's why you couldn't hear me. Yeah. I'm hoping everybody got a chance to hear that. But just to circle back around from what knowing you, and then from what I read in the media and what I gleaned from what you're saying now, it sounds what you're trying to do is to put the CVB in the best possible position moving forward because you see, and I thought it was a good word, some possible vulnerabilities as it relates to diversity and inclusion. Am I correct in that?
You're absolutely correct. And
okay.
And that's all the email was stating was, here's our vulnerabilities. Here's what people can easily, by going online, can actually see for themselves. So we don't have to overstate our position. Bottom line. And those, again, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, as someone who works with a black audience and black audiences, there was something that was in your email that's been released by WCPO that I knew was true. And that is that when you're dealing with us, you got to be authentic. The days of saying one thing and doing something else is a good way of losing our support real quick. So is that the issue you were trying to raise?
That is 100%. We don't have to overstate what we've been doing. We have been, in a true and honest fashion for the past 16 years, moving this region, this city particularly, in the forefront of being diverse for our tourism, regardless of our local issues, because we've done it collaboratively and we've done it in an authentic way. And that's why we're winning. It is not business, it's relational, it's friendships. It's a collective pact towards a mission of empowerment, a mission of inclusion, and a mission of equity. And that's what we've been focused on.
Right. And we're living in radical times, very highly politically charged times is a better way of putting it. And I can see how at a moment like this, some people, right, because sometimes people hear what they want to hear, will read and hear what you say and take it the wrong way. From what I'm seeing, again, from the work I do, authenticity means everything. You can say you love black folks, but if you ain't hiring no black folks, you ain't got no black folks in leadership, ain't no black folks making no decisions, I don't believe you. It just sounds like it's more you trying to sell me with some window dressing, but there's nothing really there. So can you talk about, because a little bit in your email that was released by the media, you talked about, just some opportunities, we'll put it that way. in terms of more diversity. So, for instance, it was noted that there are no black sales managers at any of the major hotels. Is that true?
It's absolutely true. There are there is one person that just got a promotion last year that is of African American descent. The others are not in the major ones. Now, there may be some scattered throughout the region, but I can count them on one hand. The others lie within my department. So I have most of, well, not all. I have a majority of the African American representation in my department.
And okay, I was going to ask that question. So, looking at CVB itself, what's the diversity levels right there? You're saying the majority of that is within your office.
So out of the 10 people or 9 folks that are in the department or in our organization, 5 of them are in my department for CVB. But again, that is a far cry from what other CVBs across the country have. So frankly, we're leading in that space. I mean, that's whether it's unfortunate or fortunate. Bottom line is, as the first African American VP, we have grown in that space, and there's been a deliberate discussion about how do we grow with talented black folks, not just because they're black, but because they know their business, right? Mm-hmm. And so there are people who are selected because they're moving that discussion forward and they're experts within that field, right? So I can't speak for the other ones, but across the country, I can tell you that we are the most diverse team across the country with my department.
Interesting. And again, I can see how people, because you're also the chairman of the National Coalition of Black Meeting Professionals, I can see how people that make decisions about where black people meet would consider that as a factor. You know what I'm saying? If I'm bringing a big time convention, and these days and times post George Floyd, how diverse are you? What is your commitment already to people that look like me? If it's between 2 cities, that could be the difference in where I send my money.
And I think, Nate, you hit the nail right on the head. A lot of people make decisions because of the people who look like them. I mean, that's data. And frankly, even the census, minority majority is going to be the next 5-10 years, right? As of right now, people under 18, we do have a minority majority city or population right now in the country, right? So as it relates to stats, if you kind of dissect the different groups, the Asian community, African American community, Hispanic community, the LGBT community, et cetera, 62% of those persons within that group, they select organizations or they spend their money based off of folks who look like them. Second, they align themselves with organizations or groups that are having affinity for whatever they believe in, their social beliefs. So you're absolutely correct. Folks make decisions oftentimes more than just what the cost is, but also how they align with an organization. And that's how we've been winning. We play above our weight class because people see our authenticity and how we move forward with the IHL piece, which is our focus on helping getting high school folks more aware of what's happening within the community and how they get involved in hospitality outside of the traditional entry ways, which is cooking and cleaning, which is nothing wrong with that. But majority of our folks are in hourly positions, cooking and cleaning, and not behind the desk and not with budgets or titles. Right? So that's a major issue because they've only been introduced to where they are reflected, and that is mostly in hourly jobs, cooking and cleaning and serving food, man.
Mm-hmm. What's been the major hurdles, do you think, in terms of expanding the diversity away from those hourly jobs?
Well, I would say willpower. 1 is willpower. 2, there's no one that is holding folks accountable. I think 3, there are some genuine attempts, but overall, people have to be aware of where they can kind of play a part. And I don't know that there's been an aggressive action or activations to do so. I just don't. I don't know how that looks. And frankly, hospitality, man, you can make a lot of money in this industry. So, you kind of want to keep that to yourself sometimes.
Right.
The average job outside of hourly workers is like $90,000, man. I mean, so if you're a salesperson, if you're over food and beverage, if you're, you get some of them titles in front of you, some of these cats across the country are making, 7 figures. Depends on what level you are.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's some opportunities within the industry that if you don't know, you don't know. And there are a lot of credential hurdles that make you that much more employable, but you have to know about it. You have to have resources to get them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've learned through you and our conversations over the years that the future of the tourism business is black and brown, quite honestly. In fact, right now, from what I'm reading, 51% of the new business is from diverse clientele.
That's right.
So how do we, the public, leverage that, in your opinion? How do we, knowing that, understanding the challenges, what would you propose that people like myself and just folks that are not in the industry do to help leverage that to get more?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I'll answer it as carefully as I can. How about that? What I would say is we have to recognize our power. Let me just say this, and I'm not directing people to do this. I'm giving an example of how power was yielded and the results that come from it. In 2001, when we had the unrest, Iris and Reverend Lynch and the community and others essentially shut down tourism. Bottom line, shut down tourism. And for 4 years, almost 5, there were not any conventions that came to Cincinnati that looked like you and I, period. And I think the community began to understand where their power was when that fresh revenue didn't come in. The festival didn't come for 2 years. It went to Chicago, or Detroit, rather. Sorry, went to Detroit. The Urban League canceled. Prince Hall Masons canceled. Bill Cosby, Spike Lee, many of those groups or persons did not come to the city, so the city lost money. On the flip side of that, many African Americans lost money as well because of the hourly employment that would come from hotels. So there's some leveraging points there as it relates to how it was leveraged, and then from that we are where we are now, and we slowed down. And then Alicia Reese introduced me to the Bureau. And at that point, it was, how do we build it back up? But we have to have someone that's on the front lines talking to the community, representing the industry, but also representing the streets in the boardroom. And that's where our department came in at. So we built it back up within the collaborative spirit. So what I would say is, we have to recognize that we have the power. We have to recognize that we have the ability to ask questions. We should be talking through the African American Chamber of Commerce. We should be talking through some of the organizations that are focused on workforce. There should be some alignment, and folks should remind people of where we were, how we got here, and how do we move forward and sustain this momentum as we have in the last 16 years. And I think that's really what the discussion has to be. And I'm not suggesting that people shut down the industry. And that's not obviously what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is understand the power of what tourism brings to a community and where that power comes from. The power comes from outside of the city into the city. So if we're not working together, there's gaps and errors, that disparities that we highlighted. And then I think that's where people have to look in their soul to figure out how are we lobbying and asking for more and moving forward collectively as a region.
Speaking with Jason Dunn, he's a CVB's Group Vice President for Diversity in Sales and Inclusion, and also serves as the chairman of the National Coalition of Black Meeting Professionals. This morning speaking as from his own perspective, his personal perspective. Hey, Jason, so I know you suggested that, now were you suggesting that CVB create a task force? But in general, you're suggesting that there be a task force, a regional task force, some people from around the region that would drill down and hold more accountability, bring more accountability to these issues that you're raising. Right here, right now, what's the likelihood that's going to happen? Was that received favorably? How was that received, that idea?
Well, I think overwhelmingly it was received in a favorable way with some caveats. Obviously, some of the organizations may not want folks to audit their employee records for whatever reason, and I guess that makes sense. Because I don't know that's their own fact. But my only push for the collective piece was because we are not. If the community does not back us, as we saw in 2001, if the community does not back tourism will not flourish in this region. It doesn't matter how many hotels we have, how many convention centers we have. How many Ferris wheels are out? See, run to the community, ask the community to help us. Here are the deliverables. And if we all come to a mutual understanding, then we are ironclad and we stand together toe to toe and we'll take on the world. I mean, that's kind of what I wanted. And for me, we're addressing our weaknesses. We're getting stronger and we're providing jobs. We're bringing fresh money in that goes to the tax base that's recycled throughout the community. We're making sure that African Americans, brown people, et cetera, are getting contracts. We are making our industry collectively grow, and we can be a model for the rest of the world. I mean, it's kind of 1 + 1 = 2 to me, man. But
yeah,
you know,
me too.
I don't own nothing, so I can't make folks do something. All I can do is get the data and the facts and influence and see if people can make a decision on it.
Well, from, again, my novice position, it rings true to my ear. If they're smart, they'll listen to you because that's where the future is going. They'll strengthen what we're doing here locally. Hey, Jason, man, listen, anything else you want to share with the audience?
No, so let me say I'm sorry, man. I have my earpieces in my pocket, so I apologize. But I think what I would share to the audience is, listen, I would ask that you continue to support the Vibe efforts. I would ask that you continue to support those organizations, J. Raj and Iris and many of the Black Chamber, et cetera, those organizations that are continuing to uplift and empower our organizations, our city rather. And I would just say pray for my family, man, and me. You know, this industry has been hit hard. I have been on the outside for the last 4 months, and many of my team members have. So we ask for your prayers. You know, and it's difficult, man, as being a Black man who leads his family. You know, and having these times as weak as they are, mentally it's stressful. And we need all the prayer we can, man. So just keep my family in your prayers and keep reading your paper and keep listening to Nate and be empowered.
Well, Jason, thanks for your time, man. Let's stay connected as always, brother. I wish you the best.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that's Jason Dunn, everybody. Sounded much better. I appreciate that. Very interesting. Somebody's got to say it. And if not him, then who? Somebody's got to say it. Makes sense to me. You know, if you want to strengthen, if the future is Black and brown, if more and more dollars are coming from Black and brown folks, and from what I understand, Black females, Asian males, but Black females are traveling and doing their thing, then you need to be authentically about that life all the time, not just when you got a convention coming up. Because one thing I know I've learned, and anybody can challenge this, you got to be authentic. You got to be authentic with Black folks. You want our dollars? Be authentic. Being authentic means, you know, embracing diversity way before you start asking for our dollars because you think it's the right thing to do. Not just fake going for diversity because now you asking for money. Hey, caller, stay on the line. I just finished with my interview with Jason Dunn. I'll come to you after the break, but I got to take a quick pause, family. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, the last honest place in Cincinnati media. I'm live, I'm local, and I'm vocal, and we'll be right back.
Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson. The private equity industry has come under scrutiny for its lack of diversity, but the Carlyle Group has introduced new measures aimed at improving diversity in its workforce and at the companies it owns globally. The private equity firm is implementing a new hiring policy that requires that at least one candidate interviewed for every new role be Black, Latino, Pacific Islander, or Native American. The firm also has committed to ensuring that 30% of all directors on boards of Carlyle-backed companies are ethnically diverse. And a big gift for HBCUs. The ex-wife of Jeff Bezos, Mackenzie Scott, recently donated $1 billion of her fortune to various charities and organizations. $160 million went to several historically Black colleges and universities. And that's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
This is Zoe Wesson. What side of history do you want to be on? The right side, or one where Black people continue to be underrepresented in Hamilton County? Now's your chance to end 230 years of exclusion. In Charlie Winburn, we have a man that's received the Cincinnati NAACP President's Award, who fought on the Ohio Civil Rights Commission for 6 years, who received the Baptist Ministers Conference Community Service Award. Charlie Winburn has received the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award and was honored by WDBZ The Buzz as Pastor of the Month. We know Charlie Winburn, and he knows us. He's the right man to put us on the right side of history. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, November the 3rd, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn. Hello, I'm Charlie Winburn with Renew Community Church. It seems like the coronavirus came from nowhere. I have some good news, that if you never quit and don't give up, out of nowhere, the way will be made for you and your family. Take your life back. Join Renew Community Church each Sunday, 11:45 a.m. on Facebook Live, facebook.com/CincyRenew. Rewrite your life while at home. Join Renew Community Church for the 12-week Rewrite.me series each Sunday on Facebook Live. Renew your life at home. Go to SundayConnectCircle.org for a free 12-week, 200-page PDF. Take your power back. Rewrite your life. Join Renew Community Church each Sunday at 11:45 a.m. on Facebook Live, facebook.com/CINCI-Renew. I am Charlie Winburn, and remember, out of nowhere, the way will be made for you and your family.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
180 over 111. I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
And I see somebody asked the question, who was the mystery history winner? Well, the mystery history winner was Miss Tiffany. Shout out to her. I'm going to cash up her $25 today. Take care of her lunch for today. And the mystery history person was Eartha Kitt. Now, a lot of people was like, man, this is Nate. This is easy. Okay, well, maybe I wanted it to be easy just to get things started. There's a lot of smart people out there that keep their eyes on on history. They have good memories. As we move forward, I promise you I'll add some more difficult ones, but every week there'll be a winner. I'll put a new mystery history up later today after the show on my Facebook page, The Nathan Ivey Show page. If you want to play, great. If you don't, great. But please like and share either way. Appreciate it. Maybe somebody on your Facebook page or one of your friends or family members might want to play Mystery History. All you have to do is listen to the clip and then tell me who it is. And if you get the right answer and also share that clip, boom, there it is. Share that particular post, then you'll be registered to be a winner. There will be a winner. I don't care if we get 5 right answers or 35 right answers. There will be a winner each and every week. And why shouldn't you play? Win, lose, or draw. I mean, what are you going to lose? And you might learn something. And this week's mystery history person was, of course, Eartha Kitt. Back in the late 60s, she was one of the first people to say Black Lives Matter when she stood up at a polite White House luncheon of all the White House wives, led by Lady Bird Johnson, the then First Lady, married to LBJ, who's a known racist bastard, and I hope he burns in hell. That's a sidebar. And she broke code. She stopped being polite. And she spoke up. I mean, what she said really wasn't that big of a deal, quite honestly. She basically said that the reason why there was social unrest and a lot of drug usage in the black neighborhood is because there was anxiety about black bodies being on the front line in the Vietnam War. And she challenged that war mentality. And we've seen it many times since then, family. If you challenge whatever the government or the status quo wants, then you're going to be held accountable. And she was. She lost her ability to make money, to be as an entertainer in the United States for about a decade, if not longer. She made her money abroad. And, you know, going back, whether you remember or not, depending on your age, I mean, she was on her way to being a big time star. She was already a vocal entertainer. And she had just became the Catwoman. She was Catwoman on the #1 television series of the day back in the late 60s, Batman. Looking back, it seems ridiculous that people will watch it, but I guess back in the 60s, it was like cutting edge, right? It was cutting edge. So props to Eartha Kitt for not backing down. I appreciate it. We got too many folks that back down. They get with a little bit of pressure, then they want to back down. And that's part of the problem here in the city of Cincinnati, quite honestly, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You might feel differently. That's how I look at it. You don't have to look at it the same way I do. But in my opinion, it's a lot of black folks that talk a lot of that nonsense. But when it gets time to make a sacrifice, like I said, it's easy to get in the streets. But when you are asked to sacrifice something, oh, Lordy, 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 somebody else has got to do. That's why I give props to the people who I've watched sacrifice, who I know have put it on the line. And there are some good people like that here in the city of Cincinnati. And as a part of the audience, they sacrifice and will continue to sacrifice. To me, that's the best way to, I mean, that's what it really comes down to. You know, are you willing to sacrifice? If you're not, then I ain't hating on you. But I mean, I'm just going to put you in your proper place in history. So that's what made Muhammad Ali so great. It had nothing to do with nothing he did in the damn ring. It had nothing to do with that whatsoever. It was all about, you know, his willingness to stand up to the status quo when it mattered most. Muhammad Ali sacrificed, man. He was broke. That's how they break you. That's how they try to break you in Cincinnati too. They hit you in the pockets. Come for that money. And then that close that mouth real quick. Real quick. I don't mean to laugh, but nothing is funnier than the truth. So shout out to those individuals. You know who I'm talking about. All right, 513-873-7134. It was mixed reaction to my conversation with Jason Dunn. Some people saying he was going on and on. He explained it. He had his earpiece. He couldn't really hear me because I was certainly trying to get his attention. Not to really, I mean, listen, he can talk for as long as possible, as long as it makes sense and is worthy of us hearing, which I think it was. I just want to make sure you can actually hear it. And many people are saying they were able to hear it, so it's all good. It's all good. What's up, Lannis? Good morning. Hey, what's up, Sister Iris? What's up, Keebler? He writes, I thought it was Shirley Chisholm. No, Eartha Kitt. It's Eartha Kitt. Here it is.
What was the response, by the way, to what you said? After you made your point, how did...
One woman who was sitting to my right, she leaned over and whispered to me. She said, "Thank you for saying what you said."
How it works. The same people that'll thank you, oh man, you got the courage to say this. Somebody said it. I'm so glad somebody said it. But they ain't coming to your defense. They're not gonna come to your defense when it hit the fan. They're not gonna do that. Like, oh, thank you, Eartha. I'm glad you stood up and told the truth. We needed that. But they ain't gonna be nowhere to be found. Trust me. They're gonna be taking care of their own arse. That's just how it works. Here it is, a scene right here. Eartha Kitt. That's a famous scene in Black history. She said Black Lives Matter. Now, you knew that took some heart. In the 60s, that took some heart right there. And you can see her head ain't bowed. Her back ain't curved. You know what I'm saying? We need more sisters and brothers with that kind of constitution right there. Looking him right in his eyes. That is a super ill moment in history that should be taught in the history books. They don't teach you this in the history books because, well, we know why. You might get a good idea and start challenging the status quo right now. So shout out to Eartha Kitt. Appreciate her for that. Sisters, man, got backbone out here. Look at this. Look at it again. I love this. Back straight, chin high, looking him right in his eye. And look at LBJ, racing, bastard. He looking at her like, how dare you say something to me? He's from the South. You got a Southern president. Yeah, you know, he was tight. He was tight. You know, he was tight. And he was so tight that he weaponized the CIA against Eartha Kitt. I'm just going to keep telling this over and over again. It's mystery history because I think it's an important part of history that we just don't talk a whole lot about. You know what I'm saying? That was beautiful. And then when I seen her in subsequent interviews, she don't give a damn. She wasn't phased. She made her money abroad. Like, lady, for you Americans, we need more of this. We need this in Cincinnati when it really matters. Not when you on Facebook and talking ish or, you know, when it really matters, when the rubber really hits the road. Look at that. Look at that. Standing up straight. Looked him right in his eyes. Her back ain't curved. Her head ain't bowed. Her chin ain't down. And if they didn't like it, then so damn what? In subsequent interviews, she said, I answered the question. Don't ask me to come. And then when I come, I hit you with the realness and all of a sudden you don't like me no more. That's your problem. That's your problem. I love it. I love it. You know me. I love these kind of things. 513-873-7134. We'll play more mystery history starting today. Okay. I'll have another one up later on today. Go to the Nathan Ivey Show Facebook page and play there. Now, if it's posted in other places and you post the correct answer, it don't count. You must post it on the Nathan Ivey Show page. If you give me the correct answer, but you don't share it, it don't count. It don't count. Okay, so please give me the correct answer and then share it, and it's all good. You'll be registered. I'm taking the first 30 people with this go round. Okay, so please share it. A little bit of fun, a little something. We all shut in with COVID-19. Let me take care of your lunch. You can DoorDash on me. You know what I'm saying? My pleasure to do so. All right. And so with the first one, I didn't really promote it a whole lot outside of like, you know, the show here and in my Facebook page. But moving forward, I'm going to promote it outside to everyone to get as many people who potentially might want to play along as well. Okay. So this first one it's not a give me, but I wanted to do it just for us, the choppers, the Facebook fam and folks like that. But I'll expand it starting today, moving forward. All right. Let me give you a heads up again. So on Wednesday, doing something different. I'm doing a joint show with Donnie B starting at 12 noon. Okay. And we'll be talking about politics and people and whatever's going on. And perhaps we'll be talking primarily about the superintendent, the Cincinnati Public Schools decision. Now, later on today, the Cincinnati School Board is coming to get together. The CPS is going to report out to everybody what their plan is going to be in terms of reopening the schools. I know you're concerned about COVID-19. I'm concerned about COVID-19. We are concerned about COVID-19. So we're going to figure out what Well, we're going to get an idea of what CPS is going to do. Will they make a strong decision today, or will they kick the can down the road? Either way, join that live stream at 12 noon, because at 12:30 p.m., we're going to speak with the superintendent of the Cincinnati Public Schools, Laura Mitchell. We're going to speak with Laura Mitchell, and she's going to join myself and Donnie B, and we'll be talking about the decision today and what parents can look forward to moving forward. So you don't want to miss that conversation. There I am. You don't want to miss that conversation coming up this Wednesday. Again, the conversation starts at 12. The interview starts at 12:30 p.m. That's this Wednesday. Okay. And when you see the promo, please like and share it. Please share it. It means everything. All right. Let me go to the phone. Say, hey, John, call me back, brother. I know you was trying to get in all morning. I definitely want to respect your phone call and get you in this morning. But for now, let's go to the phone. Say good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, comrade.
Black Russia, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. I was calling because I wanted to know if you heard about that outbreak down in Georgia at that camp.
The outbreak at Georgia in the gym? No.
No, it's not in the gym. It was at a campground.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about it. Campground? Yes, I did.
And they said they did everything right, too.
It just goes to show you.
Yeah. It goes to what's about to happen today with Cincinnati School Board. I mean, you suggest they might kick the can down the road. Again, I don't know how much road they got left with 3 weeks left before they start the school. So I'm looking for them to make a decision today.
Yeah.
This is nothing that you can sit around and wait another 2 or 3 weeks to watch. We got to see what happens the next couple of weeks. Man, school starts the 24th. And students and parents want certainty.
Yeah, they do. We do. You're right. And what it shows is that kids are not immune, right? We keep hearing this. Kids can't catch it. That's BS.
Right. That's crazy.
That's BS.
And they did everything right. When they got down there, they said nobody had COVID-19. All of a sudden, the counselor had symptoms. Next thing you know, I think out of like 300-something people, like 200, like 75% of them caught COVID-19.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, what are we doing? Like, to me, this is easy. Everything online. Until either there's a vaccine or until we start seeing real decline. We ain't seen no real decline yet.
No, we haven't.
It's just been steady. Maybe a job off a couple people, but for the most part, cases have been steady or they've been going up. Now, California's number one. You know what I'm saying? California and New York have the highest cases now. Democratic governors, but nevertheless the highest cases. They just shut it down. Just go all online. That's the decision I expect the school board to make today. And if they don't, then I don't understand what they're doing or what they're looking at. We just seen a case down in Georgia of campgrounds. 75% of everybody caught it off one person, off one camp counselor who showed symptoms. That's like one teacher going to a school with a bunch of students around, one teacher with symptoms, and the next thing you know, the whole Walnut Hills High School, population 3,000 damn near. Can you imagine 75% of those kids and staff and teachers catching that? 75% of 3,000?
I don't want to, but I can imagine it. I can't imagine it.
That'd be pandemonium. All those kids going home to their parents and their siblings, passing that around. Man, if they open school, even on a partial basis, with that big of a district, I can see Fairfield, or I can see like some of the smaller districts, Wyoming, going like, half day, half in person, half online. But when you got 35,000 students, Cincinnati, Columbus and Cleveland already done shut it down, all online. We're the third biggest city. How are we not even like thinking that's going to happen today? Why is there even a possibility schools are going to open? I don't get it.
I'm with you 100%.
And this should be a campaign issue because city school boards up next year.
Yep, it will.
So how they handle this should dictate whether they get our vote or not.
I agree 100%.
And then just one final thing. I think Joe Biden got to go all black everything. I think black folks have been the base of the Democratic Party for so long. It's time to cash it in. I mean, gay folks got Obama, got all types of policy out of Obama. Now, if people want to support Joe Biden, I think he got to go all black area. He got to get a black female vice president. He's got to guarantee a black. Well, he's already said black female Supreme Court justice if he wins. Well, you ain't gonna win without black people, Joe. So you might as well put another black person on the VP slide and keep it rolling. They owe black people, don't you think? Nathan Ivey, the Democratic Party.
Of course they do, 100%. But the question is,
now,
if you had to choose between first black female VP, first black female Supreme Court justice, what would you choose?
I think I can be in a position I can demand both. I don't think I have to choose one or the other. If I'm a Democratic voter, I think I make the demand for both.
Okay.
You talk about symbolism and tangibles, right, all the time.
Right.
You could say that black female vice president is symbolism. Okay. You could say the black Supreme Court justice, female Supreme Court justice is a tangible. I think he got to do symbolism and tangibles. He can't not show symbolism and just say I'm going straight for the tangibles because he need our help to get to the tangibles. So show us some symbolism. Give us a nod.
Interesting point.
You give me some black people to vote for it, I might turn my back on Trump, but you got to give me some black people to vote for it. That's how I'm looking at it. Give me some black people to vote for it.
Interesting.
And I think there's a lot of black folks around the country who feels like that. Look, Democratic Party, you want me to support you all again? Give me some black people. Don't give me Elizabeth Warren and say, hey, we're going to be cool with Elizabeth Warren. I got you on the other side of this. Nah, that ain't going to work.
That ain't going to work.
Black everything. I need symbolism. And tangibles. I need all that because I think black folks will do it. It's time to cash it in.
Okay.
Especially with Joe Biden, with his history, I think you ain't got to pick. I don't think you have to pick one or the other in this case. I think black folks will do all that. The VP slot, Supreme Court slot, everything. Because Biden don't win without black people. He don't win without black people. He's not even a nominee without black people in South Carolina.
True.
Speaking
of South Carolina, James Clyburn said it's foolish. It's a little bit foolish to get so invested in the VP.
But see, he sounds like Stephen on Django. So it's like he tried to do stuff with black folks, but then he's guarding the hen house. He's guarding the Democratic establishment. Black folks, don't ask for too much. We're going to give you one thing. Don't ask for two things. Negro, please. Black folks been supporting the Democratic Party forever, since the 60s, primarily when the switch happened. So don't tell us we can have one thing and not the other, black dude. You put the black dude in here because you're black. Now black folks should be asking for all types of stuff. James Clyburn asking black folks to limit their ass is crazy to me.
Interesting. Hey, it's something to think about, man. Something to think about.
Have a good day. Chew on it.
You too. Yeah, he said, listen, we ain't got to choose. I want both. He said the symbolism gets us to the tangibles. Do you agree with that? 513-873-7134. What do you think? I had asked earlier, would you rather have the first black female VP or the first black female Supreme Court justice? And the vast majority of people that answer says Supreme Court justice. Black Russia says, nah, man, we need both. Give me the symbolism to get to the tangibles. I thought it was an interesting point. What do you think? 513-873-7134. I want to make sure I get John from Florida. And John, if you're listening, you've got about 1 minute to call into the show before I roll out of here this morning. And of course, I'll be back with you live, local, and vocal tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We'll chop it up. And look for the second installment of Mystery History on the official show page for this show, The Nathan Ivey Show. It'll be up right around 12 noon today. And for folks interested, the Mystery History winner, of course, was Miss Tiffany. I've said it already. And congrats to her. I'll be cash apping her $25 shortly after the show. And the Mystery History person was Eartha Kitt, which ties into today's sort of conversation piece about just the incredible racism on display with the Navy SEALs. Just incredible. And this video surfaced from last year, and somebody was doing, I don't even understand how this is a part of you opening a Navy SEAL museum event down in Florida. I don't understand how this should be a part of it. Maybe you do. To me, I don't get it. Let me see if I can play some of this for you here. At least I want you to get a chance to see it. Side by side here on the show. I can't even make this up, yo. Look at this.
Go, here comes Raven. Raven is the museum mascot.
Raven is the dog, and the dog is the museum mascot. Hold on one second here. Yeah. You see this? Hold on. Now, this is entertainment for people. Look at it. Why does this man have on a Navy SEAL? Why does this man have on a Colin Kaepernick? Let me play this for you again so you can see all of it. Why does this man have on a Colin Kaepernick jersey? Look at this. Look at this. And in the audio, you can hear people clearly like jeering and laughing. And, you know, the guy who's supposed to be the fake Colin Kaepernick is probably a Navy SEAL. Look at this. So this is what the Navy SEALs want to do to Colin Kaepernick because Colin Kaepernick took a knee. And this is a modern day representation of public lynchings. That's all this is. It seems like that appetite is still there. This is a modern day representation of public lynchings that used to happen all the time. It's reprehensible. Hey, listen, family, that is my time this morning. Let me see. Okay, we good. That's my time this morning, family. Have a blessed rest of your Monday. I wish the best for the rest of your week. Remember our motto, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. We'll talk real soon. I'll be with you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. You never know who we'll be talking to or what we'll be talking about. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. Please subscribe on Spreaker. Follow me on Facebook. And also like and follow me at the Nathan Ivey Show official Facebook page. At some point, this live stream is going to migrate to that page. So I'm just kind of setting the stage, all right? Have an excellent rest of your day. Viva la Chapas. Shout out to Team and I and my patrons. Thank you for another month of your support. I appreciate you. And we'll be back tomorrow. I'm out.